First losses in boxing. Are they the beginning of the end, or the fuel for an epic comeback? Today we're diving deep into the raw and unfiltered journeys of legends like Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Canelo Alvarez, to see how that first L shaped their legacies. A loss can be a devastating blow, but is it truly career-ending, or can it be the spark that ignites greatness? We're breaking down some of boxing's biggest stars and how they responded when their undefeated streaks came crashing down. Buckle up. This ride is packed with drama, lessons, and the resilience that defines champions. Before we dive in, drop a comment below. What's the greatest comeback story in boxing history? Is it one of these, or do you have your own pick? The personal aspect of losing. Boxing isn't just punch-outs and knockouts and belts. It's heart, and grit, and human spirit. Each fighter gets into the ring undefeated, until they're not. In that first loss, not only is it a black mark on their record, it's a test of character. Do they break down under the pressure of defeat, or do they come out of the other side of it a tougher and wiser fighter? Think on this for a second. These fighters train their entire lives to be flawless, only to have it stripped from them in front of an audience of millions. The pressure, the trolls, the hate on social media, they're merciless. Here's the thing, a loss does not equal who you are. It's what you do next that does. So let's take a gander at some of boxing's brightest stars and what they did when the first punch to their career came along. Starting with the comeback king himself, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, Revenge and Redemption. First up, Anthony Joshua. AJ was the golden boy of heavyweight boxing, Olympic champion, unified champion, and spotless 22-0 ledger. Then Andy Ruiz Jr. dethroned him in 2019 by flooring AJ 4 times and beating him in the 7th round. Boxing was left reeling. Was AJ finished? The doubters came in droves, but Joshua didn't hide in the shadows. He returned to work, lost weight, tightened up his boxing, and 6 months on in the rematch outboxed Ruiz over 12 rounds to win his titles again. That isn't a comeback. That's revenge and redemption in equal measure. AJ taught us something. A loss isn't an ending. It's a lesson. Saul Canelo Alvarez, boxing's public face. Let's talk about the face of boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez. From the start, Canelo was a prodigy, tearing through the ranks with undeniable talent. But in 2013, he faced the ultimate test, Floyd Mayweather, a defensive genius and master of the sweet science. That night, Canelo took his first L, a clear decision loss at just 23 years old. Did he crumble? Not a chance. Instead, he used that defeat as fuel, refining his skills, building his strength, and taking on the best in the business. Fast forward to today, and he's not just a 4-division champion, he's the undisputed king at super middleweight, and arguably the biggest star in boxing. Canelo's journey proves one thing: a loss isn't the end, it's the beginning of something greater. The Takeover Returns by Teofimo Lopez. Then there's Teofimo Lopez, a fearless young lion who took the boxing world by storm. In 2020, he did what many thought was impossible. He defeated Vasily Lomachenko, a pound-for-pound great, to become the undisputed lightweight champion at just 23 years old. That victory wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Teofimo had arrived, and the takeover was in full effect. But the highs of boxing can turn into lows overnight. In 2021, George Kambosos Jr. shocked the world by outboxing Lopez in a brutal upset, stripping him of his belts and derailing his momentum. It was a devastating blow, both professionally and personally. Many questioned if Lopez had been overhyped, if he had peaked too soon. But champions aren't defined by how they fall. They're defined by how they rise. Lopez refused to let one loss define his legacy. Instead of sulking, he moved up to 140 pounds, regrouped, and silenced the doubters by capturing the WBO and Ring Magazine's super lightweight titles. His comeback win against Josh Taylor proved that the takeover wasn't over. It had just moved to a bigger stage. Teofimo's journey teaches us a valuable lesson. True champions don't crumble under adversity. They use it as fuel to come back stronger. Joseph Parker, the underdog who refused to stay down. When Joseph Parker lost his heavyweight title to Anthony Joshua and then suffered another defeat to Dillian Whyte, the boxing world was quick to write him off. Back-to-back losses in the unforgiving heavyweight division? That's often a career death sentence. Many believed Parker had peaked, that he would fade into the background as just another former champion. But Parker wasn't ready to be a forgotten name. Instead of giving in to the doubters, he went back to the drawing board. He sharpened his skills, rebuilt his confidence, and took on the kind of fights that prove a fighter's true character. His resurgence wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. Parker's journey saw him grind his way back up the rankings, securing massive wins over Martin Bacol, Zhilei Zhang, and even former WBC champion Deontay Wilder. Each victory was a testament to his resilience, proving that setbacks don't define a fighter. The response to them does. Joseph Parker's story is a lesson in perseverance. When the odds are stacked against you, grit and determination can still rewrite the narrative. Daniel Dubois, the roller coaster of resilience. Finally, let's talk about Daniel Dubois, a fighter whose journey has been anything but smooth. His first loss came in 2020 against Joe Joyce, a brutal stoppage due to a shattered eye socket that forced him to take a knee. The backlash was immediate. Critics questioned his heart, his toughness, and whether he had what it took to reach the top. But Dubois wasn't done. Instead of letting that loss define him, he rebuilt himself, racking up knockout victories and proving his power was still a force to be reckoned with. However, just when it seemed like he had regained his momentum, he suffered another major setback. A tough TKO loss to Alexander Usyk in 2023 in a bid for the unified heavyweight titles. For many fighters, multiple losses spell the end of their rise, but Dubois refused to fade away. He bounced back in spectacular fashion, scoring a knockout victory over Gerald Miller, dismantling Filip Hrgovic, and delivering a shocking KO over Anthony Joshua, shaking up the entire heavyweight division. Dubois' career is a testament to resilience. Comebacks aren't always pretty, but they prove who's truly built for the fight. Deontay Wilder, the fall of the Bronze Bomber. Damaged goods? Not all stories have fairy tale endings, and Deontay Wilder's career has taken a brutal turn. Once the most feared puncher in boxing, the Bronze Bomber built a terrifying 42-0 record, knocking out nearly everyone who stood in his way. His right hand was legendary. One clean shot, and the fight was over. But then came Tyson Fury. Fury dominated Wilder in their rematch, handing him his first professional loss with a crushing 7th-round TKO. Wilder refused to go quietly, demanding a trilogy bout in 2021. The fight was an instant classic, but once again, Fury proved superior, knocking Wilder out in the 11th round. It was an all-time great battle, but for Wilder, it was also a career-altering war. Since then, things have gone downhill. After a brief return with a first-round KO of Robert Helenius, Wilder suffered a damaging decision loss to Joseph Parker in 2023. Then came the worst defeat of his career, a devastating knockout loss to Zhilei Zhang in 2024, where he looked like a shell of his former self. The once feared knockout artist now seems vulnerable, slower, and unable to pull the trigger. So the question looms, is Deontay Wilder damaged goods? 3 punishing losses, 2 by knockout, and a fading aura of invincibility suggest the end may be near. If Wilder wants any shot at redemption, he'll need to prove he's still got more than just a right hand. Because right now, the Bronze Bomber looks like a fighter who's taken too much damage to ever be the same again. Josh Taylor, the Tartan Tornado fades. Once the undisputed king at 140 pounds, Josh Taylor was at the top of the boxing world, but in just a short span, everything changed. His controversial 2020 win over Jack Catterall left a dark cloud over his reign, with many believing he had been gifted a decision. Then in 2023, he suffered his first official loss, as Teofimo Lopez outclassed him, taking his belts and his unbeaten record. A chance for redemption came in 2024, a long-awaited rematch with Catterall, the fight many believed he had lost the first time. But instead of reclaiming his name, Taylor was defeated yet again, confirming the doubts about whether he was still at his best. Now the once dominant champion finds himself at a crossroads. Has he peaked? Is his run at the top over? Taylor's story is proof that confidence can be shattered quickly in boxing, but as long as he keeps getting back up, his fight isn't truly over. The question is, how many more times can he rise? The fall of the Soul Taker. For years, Tszyu looked every bit the heir to their father's legendary name, undefeated, relentless, and seemingly on the path to superstardom. He tore through the super welterweight division, proving he wasn't just Kostya Tszyu's son, but a force in his own right. Then came Sebastian Fundora in 2024, a tall, awkward southpaw who handed Tszyu his first professional defeat. Just like that, the aura of invincibility was gone. The setback was followed by an even more crushing blow, a third-round knockout loss to Bakram Martazaliev, marking the most devastating defeat of his career. Now, as he prepares to step back into the ring on April 6th, the question isn't just about skill, it's about mentality. Can Tszyu shake off these back-to-back losses and prove he's still a future world champion? Or have the last two fights revealed cracks that will keep him from ever reaching the top? One thing is certain, his next fight won't just be about winning. It will be about proving he still belongs among the best. Errol Spence Jr., the missing man. And what about Errol Spence Jr.? Once an elite welterweight champion, Spence was seen as one of the most dominant forces in the division, until Terence Crawford dismantled him in 2023. It wasn't just a loss. It was a brutal, one-sided beatdown that left Spence looking like a shell of his former self. And since then, silence. No fights, no clear comebacks, just speculation. Is he retired? Is he rebuilding? No one truly knows. Spence's disappearance serves as a reminder that sometimes a loss doesn't just hurt your record, it shakes your entire foundation. And that's okay. Recovery takes time, both physically and mentally, but the question remains, will we ever see Errol Spence Jr. return to the ring? Or has the Crawford fight marked the end of an era? Tyson Fury. Goodbye, Gypsy King? Then there's Tyson Fury, a man who seemed unstoppable, a larger-than-life personality who ruled the heavyweight division with skill, size, and mind games. Even in his first fight against Deontay Wilder, where he was knocked down in the final round, he rose from the canvas like a man possessed and went on to dominate their trilogy. But in 2024, everything changed. Fury suffered back-to-back losses to Alexander Usyk, the second sealing his fate as the former undisputed heavyweight king. And just like that, he announced his retirement. Yet with Fury, retirement never really seems final. Is this truly the end, or just another chapter in the unpredictable saga of the Gypsy King? History suggests that he may not stay away for long. Fury's career is proof that even the biggest stars have their downturns, but whether this is a farewell or a pause remains to be seen. Ryan Garcia, the wild ride of King Ryan. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia, a fighter whose career has been just as unpredictable as his social media feed. In 2023, he suffered his first professional loss to Gervonta Davis, stopped by a vicious body shot. Many thought the defeat would humble him, maybe even derail his momentum, but with Ryan, nothing is ever that simple. What followed was a whirlwind: social media outbursts, bizarre callouts, and endless speculation about his focus. Yet despite the chaos, he proved he was still a force in the ring. In December 2023, he silenced doubters with a knockout victory over Oscar Duarte, showing that his speed and power hadn't gone anywhere. Then, in April 2024, He took a massive step up, shocking the boxing world by outpointing Devin Haney and handing Haney his first professional loss. So is this the start of a real resurgence, or just another twist in Ryan Garcia's unpredictable journey? One thing's for certain, whatever happens next, you won't want to miss it. Mario Barrios, the resilient Azteca. Among fighters who have stumbled, Mario Barrios stands out as a notable exception. A fighter who refused to let back-to-back defeats define him. After suffering consecutive losses to Gervonta Davis and Keith Thurman, many questioned whether he would bounce back at the elite level. But Barrios didn't fold. He fought back. Instead of fading into the background, he regrouped, sharpened his skills, and came back stronger than ever. He re-established himself as a serious contender with a dominant TKO victory over Giovanni Santiago, proving that he was far from done. Then in 2023, he made an even bigger statement, outworking and defeating former world champion Ordunis Ugas to claim the WBC interim welterweight title. Most recently, he secured another key win against Fabian Maidana, further solidifying his place among the division's top fighters. Barrios' resurgence is a testament to the fact that in boxing, a couple of losses don't mean the war is over, only quitting does. His journey reminds us that setbacks are temporary, but resilience is what separates contenders from pretenders. Devin Haney, the case of the erased loss. And then there's Devin Haney. Oh, Devin. His undefeated record, gone in 2024, thanks to Ryan Garcia, who handed him his first professional loss in a shocking upset. But wait, not so fast. In a twist only boxing politics could deliver, the loss was later overturned to a no contest, effectively restoring Haney's perfect record. Come on now. Really? We all see what happened in the ring, but somehow the history books tell a different story. Haney is an elite talent, a champion through and through, but let's be honest. This isn't the kind of comeback that wins fans over. Devin, we know you're one of the best, but if you want to keep that O, let's make sure it stays intact the real way, by proving it in the ring. The lesson in every loss. So what do all these stories teach us? A first loss, whether in boxing or in life, is never the end of the road. It's a mirror exposing weakness, testing resilience, and forcing the question, what are you really made of? Some fighters like Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez used their defeats as fuel for legendary comebacks. Others like Deontay Wilder and Josh Taylor remind us that the road back is never guaranteed. Some never quite reclaim their former glory. And then there are those whose futures remain uncertain. Fighters like Tszyu and Devin Haney, who now face defining moments in their career. But here's the point. Every fighter on this list is human, just like you and me. They doubt, they struggle, they fall. But what sets them apart is their willingness to get back up. So the next time life knocks you down, remember these stories. Get up, learn, and keep fighting.